Okay guys, so welcome ulit sa ating YouTube channel. Ito na yung lesson 29 sa ating advanced calculus. So this is the mean value theorem. So let's have the proposition number 8. So this mean value theorem, so iba siya kay Rolle's theorem, iba siya kay IBT. So another thing, si mean value theorem, may mean value theorem for derivative and may mean value theorem for integral. So since nasa derivative tayo, this is mean value theorem for derivative. Okay, so we have the mean value theorem, proposition number 8. So if f is continuous on closed interval ab and differentiable on ab such that f prime of c is equal to f of b implies f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. So check ko lang sa definition. So hindi pala such that, no? So such that, okay, so n differentiable on AB. Then pakibura tong konting definition. Kaya pala nalilito ako. So then ito na, then there exists C element ng open interval AB. Okay, such that and f prime of C is equal to f of B minus f of A all over B minus A. So ito yung ating mean value theorem. So paano siya in terms of drawing? So for illustration, I guess this will be enough. So for illustration, suppose meron tayong function dito. Okay, so suppose may function tayo na red ko na lang. So suppose may function tayong ganito. Okay, so suppose yung function natin is ganito yung naging itsura. Okay, so by mean value theorem, ibig sabihin niya, may mag-exist daw na C. Okay, such that element siya ng AB, open interval AB, so somewhere nandito yan, such that ang f prime of C is equal to f of B minus f of A all over B minus A. So ano bang ibig sabihin ni sir dyan? For example, dito, nyari kinuha ko yung distance between dito sa dalawang to. Okay, then assuming nag-derivative ka or something gumanyan. Okay, so ngayon ano mangyari? Aware tayo na, 'di ba? Instead na kinukuha yung derivative, yung distance dito, kinukuha ko rin yung distance between dito sa dalawang to, tapos yung distance dito. Okay, parang ibig sabihin lang yan is hindi ko eksaktong pwedeng sabihin na para siya yung average derivative, pero hindi naman siya totally yung ganun. So kumbaga ang ginagawa ko lang is something na yung mean value theorem, applicable siya. So applicable naman lagi sa close and bounded interval. Tapos pwede mo siyang gamitin, okay, if ever dapat ganito, A is less than B. So tama naman dapat yan. Tapos pwede mo naman gamitin totally ito lagi. So kunyari, gusto ko yung derivative, kunin ko yung derivative, kunyari f prime of 3 doon sa function. Pwede mo na agad gamitin yung mean value theorem dyan. So ang gagawin mo lang, kunin mo lang yung dulong interval. So for example lang kunyari given yung function, kunyari meron akong f of x is equal to x on 3, 4. Okay, gusto kong kunin yung f prime of 3. F prime of 3.5 o let's say 3.1. Okay, so by mean value theorem, since 3 is less than 4, tapos siya naman ay continuous as differentiable doon. So pwede mong apply yun. So that's kunin mo lang yung f of 4 minus f of 3 all over 4 minus 3, tapos yun yung ating f prime of 3.1. So ganun lang siya kasimple. So ito pa yung baari kang magtataka, no? Sir, ano ibig sabihin no, sir? For example, 3.2, 3.5, 3 point something. So ibig sabihin, sir, pare-parehas yung kanyang kumbaga pare-parehas po yung kanyang integral or yung derivative by specific C. Tapos kasi ganun na po lagi mangyayari, sir. So ayun nga siguro yung parang pinaka-ibig sabihin niya. So may mga ganun certain function. So kumbaga, so for every values of function, yung values nung f prime of C natin is always equal or always equal. Kasi nga f of B minus f of A over B minus A, lagi yan always magkakaparehas sa lalabas. So kasi naka-base lang sila dun sa values nung interval. Okay, so wala ko eksakto example nito, pero hindi ko rin, pero best example talaga is ganito. Okay, so kumbaga usually ito siguro sa mga constant function or something or sa mga increasing function. Okay, so check na lang natin upon proving. Okay, so pinakamahalaga naman talaga dito one way is to prove natin yung existence ng mean value theorem for derivative. Okay, so consider natin, so we need to prove dapat ito. So ito yung proof. Okay, so gagawa ko ng function. So ito pwede mo rin gawin. Kumbaga maghanap ka ng function na kung saan isa-satisfy. So ito yung isa sa mga dapat maging talent mo. Mahanap mo yung mga function na pwede mo masatisfy siya. So consider the function. Kumbaga mag-goal yung proving mo. So consider the function. So to base lang or nakuha ko lang sa book. Okay, so consider this function. Let's say capital F. Again, capital F yan. So, F. Okay, mapping. So, mapping from A to B going to real number. Okay, defined by. So, capital F yan, hindi yung small f. Defined by. Okay, so f of x. So, capital F of x is equal to small f of x minus f of a minus k times x minus a, where k is equal to f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. Okay, so kung talaga sir, paano mo kinuha yan, hindi ko rin talaga alam. So I guess nag-define sila ng function na kung saan isa-satisfy si ito. So kumbaga kaya niyang kunin yan. So kasi yung goal natin, kuha ka ng function. So gumawa ka ng function na mapping from A to B. So close interval yan. Okay, going to R is defined to f of x equal to f of x. So capital F of x equal to small f of x minus f of a minus k times x minus a, where k is equal to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. So kumbaga goal talaga natin hulihin siya. Okay, so kaya dinefine na yung k na ganyan. Okay, so huwag nyo na saan tanongin sir, bakit mo nakuha yan, paano mo nakuha yan. So si book or sa mga mathematician na nag-prove yung kumuha yan. So again, almost marami naman sa mga pinrove ko dito is galing din naman talaga totally sa mga mathematician or sa mga book. So nire-revise ko lang siya, or kumbaga ine-explain ko lang siya to the extent na paano ko siya naintindihan. Tapos siyempre dapat mas maintindihan nyo rin. Okay, so kumbaga ako parang taga hindi totally binabasa, so at least ako hindi ko siya binabasa kasi in-explain ko pa rin siya kung paano ko siya naintindihan. So hindi naman sa mga special thing na pwede kong ipagmalaki sa inyo. Okay, so another thing, ano ba pwede mong malaman dyan dun sa ating f of x? Ito ay continuous. So aware tayo, no, this is continuous. So this is continuous on close interval AB. So sir, bakit? Never yan mag-undefined. Okay, kasi yung fraction niya is b minus a. So, hindi naman yung makukuha. Okay, another thing is differentiable siya. This is differentiable on open interval AB. Okay, so sure din ako na differentiable siya. So, nag-exist yung derivative tapos continuity niya. Okay, so sure na tayo dyan. Ngayon, kunin na natin yung f of a saka f of b. Kasi nga, goal natin kunin yan. Okay, so kunin natin sa f of a saka sa f of b. So apply natin Rolle's theorem. So sir, bakit ka kukuha ng f of a saka f of b? Kumbaga, ang goal ko lang, kunyari, ito yung a, ito yung b. So parang anong nangyari, si a dito, siya yung local minimum, tas yung local maximum. Okay, so kunin ko yung f natin. So kumbaga, ito yung guhit sa gitna, yan yung function f eh. Yan yung malaki. So consider, kunin natin, or now, okay, so now, consider natin si f of a na malaki. Okay, so base sa function, kung yung f of x is equal to small f of x, meaning lahat ng x papalit lang ko ng a. So meaning this is f of a. Tama? So this is f of a minus f of a. Okay, minus k times x minus a. Okay, so ano magiging value niya? Totally. Sir, obvious po na siya ay mag-equal kay sorry, sa x magiging a din to, no? So, ito ay magiging a din. Okay, so obviously ito ay f of a minus f of a is 0, then a minus a is 0. So, regardless kahit anong value ng k, that is always 0. So, meaning f of a, so, f of a is equal to 0. Now, kunin natin sa f of b. So, sa f of b naman, syempre, small f of b lang to, minus f of a, minus k. Ano yung k? Lagay ko yung k, no? So, lalagay ko yung k na f of b minus f of a. Lagay ko na rin kasi all over b minus a. Okay, multiplied by b minus a. Kasi yung x natin is b minus. Yung k, diba? Ito yung k, kasi ito yung x minus a. So, that's b minus a. So obviously, ano mangyayari? This is also 0. Bakit? Kasi this is cancel. Tapos ito ay parang f of a minus f of b minus f of a, f of b minus f of a, that is also 0. So meaning, f of b is equal to 0. So again, by Rolle's theorem, katulad nung ginawa from previous, so kung ano napansin nyo, no, kailan gagana si Rolle's theorem? Pag nangyari, nagkaroon ka ng f of c saka f of d na equal to 0, apply mo yung Rolle's theorem dun sa interval mismo. Ngayon, so we can apply Rolle's theorem. So thus, Rolle's theorem apply. Okay, so by Rolle's theorem na lang, by Rolle's theorem, okay, lagay ko na lang on f of x on closed interval AB. So umaga, dinefine natin yung malaking f dun sa AB natin. So sabi ni Rolle's theorem, there exists C element ng open interval AB, okay, such that, anong sabi ng Rolle's theorem natin? Such that f prime of c, so f prime of c is equal to 0. Yung capital F prime of c. Okay, so now apply natin yan. Kunin natin yung derivative netong f of x. Okay, so kasi nga differentiate natin to. So pag dinifferentiate ko to, so this is f prime of x is equal to f prime of x minus yung derivative nito ng f of a, since constant siya. So again, constant yung f of a na yan kasi may value eh. So kunyari f of 3, f of 5, always constant yan. So that is 0. Okay, then minus or multiplied by k. This is minus. Ano yung k natin? F of b. So hindi ko to di-differentiate kasi constant siya doon. Okay, all over b minus a. So sino ang di-differentiate ko? So x minus a. Ano derivative na x minus a? Ang derivative na x minus a is 1. Okay, so tandaan yung value na yan. So therefore, ano magiging value? Aware tayo na yung f prime of c natin. Okay, so ano mangyari? Si f prime, dahil ko lang, no? This implies yung capital F prime of c, okay, is equal to small f prime of c. Okay, this is minus yung k, o ito yung f of b, no? So lagay ko lang muna as k. So ayan pa rin yan. Yan, ano pang sunod na gagawin natin dito? Since si f prime of c, diba sabi niya, no, by Rolle's theorem, si f prime of c natin is 0. So this implies 0 is equal to f prime of c minus k. So arrange ko lang, transpose yung k doon. So mangyayari lang, so this implies that f prime of c is equal to k. Kumbaga pinagpalit ko lang ha. So kumbaga supposedly that is k is equal to f prime of c. Kaso symmetric ko na. Ngayon, ano ba ibig sabihin ng k? Si k is ito. So therefore this implies that f prime of c is equal to f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. Therefore the mean value theorem is proved. Okay, so ganun yung naging application niya. So again, wag mo na ako tanungin bakit ganun yung dinefine, sa kanila din galing yan. Okay, so hindi sa akin totally yan. So ako, explain ko lang ko siya kung paano ipoprove. So totally, or to be honest, pag kinuha mo siya sa book, more in wording siya eh. So kumbaga ako, itina-translate ko siya into symbol. So kahit maghanap ka ng kahit anong book, hindi ganyan mag-prove si book. Mag-prove si book is totally parang paragraph form. Kumbaga may ini-explain, may ibibigay na parang something doon, ini-explain niya. Pero ako, ang ginagawa ko is pagkabasa ko sa book, itina-translate ko siya into mathematical symbol, into which hindi nawawala yung thought nung proving. So at least napapaikli ko siya. Okay, so therefore ito yung proving natin mean value theorem. Okay, now let's have a corollary. So corollary number 9. So let I be an interval containing more than one point. So again, meron siyang interval containing yung let I be an interval containing more than one point. So sir, possible ba yun? Yes, possible naman yun. Not possible, sir. Totoo naman yun. Yes, totoo naman yun. Pero sir, possible po ba na may interval na mayroong 1 point? Yes, meron. Kunyari si 1, 1. Yung close interval ng 1, 1. that is only the set containing x. Okay, so yun yung isa ibig sabihin nun. So yung closed and bounded interval ng 1, 1, the set containing x yun. So possible kasi na may interval na ganun. Okay, so ngayon, ang senior lang niya dito, kuha tayo ng interval, okay, containing more than 1 point. So that's f is equal to I going to real number. So then f is a constant function if and only if f prime exists on I and it is identically 0 on I. Okay, so ano na ibig sabihin nito? Kung si f is constant function, then therefore yung f prime exists on I and it's identically equal to 0. So, sir, obvious naman na kung siya ay constant, ang derivative nun is 0. Yung derivative nun is 0. So, kahit anong value na ipalit ko doon, that is always 0. Tapos ngayon, sir, baliktad, f prime exists on I and it's identical to 0 on I, then f is a constant function. So, kumbaga, by conditional yan, dalawa yung proving. Ngayon, define lang muna natin, ano ba ibig sabihin na identically 0 on I? So, iba siya sa pagiging, sa constant function, siya ay kunyari f of x is equal to 3, f of x is equal to 4. Ayun yung mga isa sa ibig sabihin yan eh. Okay, ano ba ibig sabihin ng identically equal to 0 or identically 0 on I? So, note, lagay ko na lang. Okay, note identically identically 0. Okay, means this is flat. Okay, this is flat line whose value is always 0. Okay, so again, identically 0 means flat line whose value is always 0. So imagine mo lang anong klaseng line yan. Flat line whose value is always 0. So hindi ko rin alam yung ibig sabihin ng line tas may value. So paano ko ba makukuha yung value ng isang line? So i-research nyo lang din. So I guess try ko siyang i-discuss sa inyo somewhat or somewhere pag nakita ko siya. Okay, so yun ay ibig sabihin niya. So, ngayon, kailangan natin i-prove to. So ang proving is assume, show. Kumbaga if and only if siya. Okay, so case 1 and case 2 tayo. So ito yung proof natin. Paano ba siya ipoprove? Okay, so yung proving ng papunta. Okay, note na yung proving ng papunta is trivial or clear. Okay, this is clear. Okay, so kumbaga, sir, bakit clear? Kasi ganito yan. Suppose, kunyari f of x is equal to alpha. So for all alpha, element ng real number. So obviously that f prime of x is equal to 0. So, ayun ibig sabihin. Kung si f is constant function, therefore yung f prime niya is exists. Okay, f prime exists and it is identically equal to 0. So, yung derivative niya is equal to 0. Nag-exist as equal sa 0. So, tapos na. Kaya sinabi niyang clear. Kaya, kaya nasabi ko totally na clear kasi tapos na. Okay, ngayon, what if siya ay identically, f prime exists as identically equal to 0. Tapos ngayon, i-prove natin na siya ay isang constant function. Okay, so, prove natin yung pabalik o yung ating converse. So, ano yung prove ng pabalik? And ang gagawin ko naman, f prime exists on I and it's identically 0 on I. So, suppose meron tayong point dalawa. Kasi nga, di ba, yung IB interval containing more than 1 point. So, suppose meron tayong mag-let lang ako no, let x sub 1 and x sub 2 element of I. Okay. Element of I such that si x sub 1 is less than x sub 2. Okay? So, sabi niya nga, no, let I be an interval containing more than 1 point, tapos f prime exists on I and it's identically equal to 0. So, sabi nga natin, magiging differentiable ako sa open interval AB, tapos, pwede kong gawin ganito, no? So, pwede kong apply yung mean value theorem. So, we can apply MBT to f on interval x sub 1, x sub 2. Okay, so this implies, kunyari, i-apply ko yung MBT, yung mean value theorem sa f on interval x1 and x2. So sabi nga niya, no, if f is continuous and differentiable on closed interval AB. So again, since ako ay differentiable kasi sabi nga na differentiable ako doon, therefore ako ay continuous kasi meron tayong proposition or lemma na ganun. So therefore pwede kong i-apply si MBT. Ano sabi ng conclusion ng MBT? Ang conclusion niya, there exists C, element ng open interval. So there exists C, element ng open interval x sub 1, x sub 2, such that si f prime of C latin is equal to f of x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Tama. So, note na si f prime of 0, so f prime of C is 0. Okay, so again, this is equal to 0. Sir, bakit? Since that is given. Kasi nga, identically equal to 0 siya eh. Okay, so f prime exists on I and it is identically equal to 0. Kaya, nasabi kong 0 siya. So, meaning, this implies, that 0 is equal to f of x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, so since 0 siya, cross multiply natin. So this implies that 0 is equal to f of x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1. Which implies that f of x sub 1 is equal to f of x sub 2. Ayan, kailan mangyayari na sa f of x sub 1 is equal to f of x sub 2? So kung naalala nyo, may nabanggit ako last time na kung equal siya, so kung naalala nyo, meron ako ditong ginawa dito sa Rolle's theorem, sa proving ng Rolle's theorem, kung yung f of c sub 1 o f of a is equal to f of b, so meaning yung graph niya is ganun. Yung dulo-dulo interval kasi yan eh. Okay, so meaning kung ganun nangyari siya ay constant, kung naalala mo. So therefore, this implies that f is a constant function. Okay, so in any case, this is done. Okay, so ganun siya kasimple i-prove. Okay, then lastly, we have this proposition number 10. So, ito pa yung pwede ko sabihin, ito pa yung isang reminders ko sa inyo. Probably mag-upload pa ako by next week ng very last ko. Kailangan ko kasi pa ng konting isa pang problem set sa inyo para ma-compute ko na maayos yung grade. Okay, so let's have proposition number 10. So, let f be a function mapping from I going to real number, B differentiable on I, then number 1, letter A, f prime of x is greater than or equal to 0 on I, if and only if f is increasing on I. Again this is parang proposition, proposition 10.A, 10.B, 10.C, 10.D. So, kung yung f prime of x is greater than 0 on I, f is increasing on I. Kung siya na may greater than 0 lang, f is strictly increasing on I. And f prime is less than or equal to 0, then f is decreasing on I, then strictly decreasing on I. So imagine mo lang ang ibig sabihin niyan, kung yung derivative niya of fx is greater than or equal to 0, so obviously siya ay increasing on I. So again, itong proposition na is very useful. Kunyari gusto mong i-show na yung function is monotone, so gusto mong i-show na yung function is monotone, pwede to. Kunin mo yung derivative niya kung greater than or equal to 0 or less than or equal to 0, therefore siya ay increasing or decreasing. So therefore yung function natin is monotonic. Okay, so yan yung mga pwede nating gamitin. So I guess gawa ko ng isa or pakita ko sa inyo yung isa paano natin i-apply yan. So i-prove ko yung 10.A. So para before matapos tong video natin. So ito yung proof. Ito na lang no. So proof ng 10.A. Okay, so ano ba pwede natin gawin dito? Suppose na yung x sub 1, suppose that f prime of x is greater than or equal to 0, kasi ito yung assumption. Okay, on I. Okay, ang goal natin dapat maging f is increasing. Okay, so ganito lang natin. So let tayo. So let x sub 1 is less than x sub 2 be points on I. Okay, so by MBT, again, so since x sub 1 is less than x sub 2 tapos points siya on I, so by MBT, there exists C1 element nung x sub 1, comma x sub 2 such that f prime of c is equal to f of x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, note that since x sub 1 is less than x sub 2, therefore this is always positive. Okay, the denominator is always positive. Okay, so tandaan yan. Since yung denominator is positive, ano masasabi nyo? Kunyari f prime of 0, so kunyari f prime of c is 0, so by extreme value theorem siya is 0, therefore f of x, so this implies na si f of x sub 2 is greater than or equal sa f of x sub 1. So meaning mas mataas si f of x sub 2 kay f of x sub 1. Anong nangyari? Bakit ganun nangyari? Again, kung ito positive, para mag-exist yung kanyang function, di ba, yung f prime of x is greater than 0. So, kunyari, dapat yung f prime of c natin, dapat positive to, or mas mataas lagi sa 0. So, kailan mangyayari yun? Kung positive yung denominator, dapat positive din yung ating, positive din yung ating numerator. So, kailan magiging positive yung numerator? Positive yung numerator kung yung f of x sub 2 is greater than or equal to f of x sub 1. So, lagay ko na lang since f of x sub 2 minus f of x sub 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so f is increasing on I. So that is that. Okay, so ganun lang siya kasimple. So pag pinrove mo tong isa, similar siya sa prove sa letter C. So yung 10.A saka 10.C is similar. So iba na yung case pag strictly increasing. Okay, so meaning labas na yung pagiging 0. Hindi na siya pwedeng mag-0. Okay, so that's all for this video. Hoping na naiintindihan mo si mean value theorem. So dapat maglalagay ako ng example na kung saan i-apply si mean value theorem. Pero I think maintindihan mo na yung ibig sabihin ni mean value theorem. As long as siya ay continuous sa closed interval AB or differentiable sa open interval AB, you can use mean value theorem. So pag mayroon kang nabasang tanong na use mean value theorem to show that this function is differentiable, pwede mong gamitin automatic to. So f prime of c is equal to f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. Pwede mo na yan gamitin. Okay, so provided na siya ay interval, yung given natin, o yung domain ng ating function. So that's all, and thank you for watching. Hoping na naintindihan mo yung ating subject.